Hello, everyone. It's Michaela, and welcome back to And All the Things. I hope you are having a fantastic day and celebrating yourself in some way. We are here today to release the next episode of And All the Things. I'm going to invite our guest in to give you a sneak preview and let you meet her on a small scale before you get to know all about AnnaJo and all the things. Let's get her in here. Whoops. And here we go. Let's see, did I get it right or do I have to try again? Let me try again. There she is. Hello, Anna.
All right. Okay. Hello.
Welcome to Instagram Lives and all the things. My podcast started on this platform. So even though I'm maturing a little and shifting into, adding in music and learning how to edit and record things, I wanted to come back to Instagram Live and just say hi and let you tell us a little bit about who you are, what we're going to hear about in the podcast, and take it from there, So how are you and what's happening?
I am good. Hello.
Joe?
Thank you for having me, Michaela. It's amazing. I was looking forward on this President's Day to come here. So thank you so much for having me. And we're going to talk about the podcast, which was a great experience. So thank you for that as well.
Oh, you're so welcome. And when I say it's truly my pleasure, I mean that from the bottom of my heart, right? I love having conversations with people that inspire me to think and think outside the box and learn new perspectives and stay curious. And you absolutely did that. So how do you feel? How do you feel about the podcast? Was it fun? I think we might have frozen. Hold on, everyone. Let me see. I got to get her back in here. Oh, no. One thing I've learned through this Instagram Live version of the podcast is all kinds of things happen. And we have her back.
I know. I don't know what's happening. It's something here in a message. But I have internet, I have everything. So it's good.
Listen, I have learned very quickly through this process to just adjust and to understand that technology can get in the way of things. But I have learned persistence, right? And I've learned how to kind of laugh it off and move it through. And
right.
That does. But I think that's what you and I do. And that's what we talk about so much in this particular podcast is how to be that leader and how to know what's important, what you value, and how to bring that authenticity to life, right? So if I stood here and panicked, oh my gosh, she disappeared, what does that say? So I love that we're both just moving through and laughing with whatever comes our way.
That's life, right?
Yeah, we've got a couple of comments in here. Hey, happy Monday, crush the week. Thank you so much. I love that. And never as you want them to happen. No, things don't happen the way you want them to happen.
Never.
But we work with the conditions we're given. So tell us real quickly about your coaching business, and then we'll get into a little bit about the podcast.
Yes. All right. So I am Ana Jorge. So I am a work-life balance coach. So I help women who are in this, wants to thrive, wants to come back to their self, this good energy again. And, we're just using some tools, strategies during the program that I have to manage the work and life. I don't like to even to say work life because I believe there is one thing. So that's why I'd like to call work life harmony, because it's living in harmony to manage all the things in the way that you feel good about it. And looks like it's such a simple thing, right? So I'm doing my life, I'm doing the things I want. But at the end, it's just ending the day with this will and with this energy, which is I did it. Yeah. Oh my God, sometimes it's not the easiest thing, so that's what I do. So,
and you're so spot on, because if we're not consciously engaged in the choices that we're making, then there's work and there's life. But this is just the one little life that we have, this precious little existence. And if we're constantly bifurcating and splitting it into two parts of us, we're always going to feel that gap, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I love this. And we talk a lot in the podcast about leadership and showing up authentically and how to get there. I love the part where we talk about, and I would love to explore more about your world travels through your career and all the different places that you went to. And I would love to dig in more to that. But the experience you bring to just showcase perspective and experience is fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you have been busy. You're doing your work-life harmony program, right? Because we discuss kind of the misnomer about work-life balance, right?
Yes.
Like we think it's going to be this thing that just holds everything together, when in reality we're constantly moving, we're constantly changing, and we have to find the harmony, the flow, right, in that.
Yes, so much.
How is that all going? What do you find people, are they shocked when they find out there's no work-life balance?
Yes, that's true. Because, I introduced myself. I am a work-life balance coach. And then the first thing I say, but I don't believe there is balance. So it's like, what's going on
you're
here?
So right.
But I actually don't believe there is a balance. And I feel balance is, if you think about, especially in the words we use, it just drives the thinking of balance is have the equal time working at home, and even thinking about like in my corporate, right? So I'm still a corporate, and in my corporate, how when I listen, like I need more time to be at home with my life because I work too much, right? But then you can see then when they are at home in their life, they are thinking about work as well. So it's about like really to find the harmony between all the worlds you have, including yourself. Right, including yourself.
Importantly, right? We've got
so to make all happen, because at the end, what you want is just to feel like this purpose, like it's fulfillment. I'm happy in my life, right? No matter what, and that is shaping the design of what you want to do. And like sometimes it's work, and it's okay. Sometimes it's more about you, and it's okay. Sometimes it's more about family, and it's okay. So I think this is all about like managing all the areas in your life in the way that you feel that you are present, living that's you there.
And that's the piece, right? The being present and being aware of what's coming at you.
Exactly.
Quite some time ago, I studied martial arts and earned a black belt in Okinawa Kempo Karate. And one of the greatest experiences of my life, especially doing it as an adult, to learn the beliefs and the philosophies that go into it. And our dojo's statement was find the right balance. And what that taught me at the age of 26, 27 was there is no being in a position of balance, right? It's constantly moving with whether it's the wind coming your way, stress coming your way, and just staying in that space. For us in karate, it was, a physical attack, like a fist coming your way. And it's how to move with that energy, not to be, And so finding the right balance became something, that's how I think of balance, right? How do you get back to it? How do you just like weave into that place where it doesn't feel so overwhelming? And that's being present. It's being clear on where you are, where you want to be, and what's in the way of that. And I really, we hit on all of these topics during our episode, and I just am so incredibly inspired and grateful. Like I say in the podcast, I love having conversations with other coaches. Why? Because we're having the same conversation about driving desire and passion and authenticity in the world around us. And I want to have that conversation all day long. So if you guys head on over to Apple, you've got Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, you can follow along here on Instagram. But the episode is fantastic, and we drive home so many really valuable points, having a really enjoyable conversation. So we invite you to listen in. And Anna, if you'll tell us again, if people want to follow along or get in touch with you to learn more about work-life harmony, how do we find you, and what's going on?
Let me just, when I was listening to the podcast, I listened twice, all right? Because it's one of my first podcasts, so of course, just listen twice. Oh my God.
I'm so honored to be a part of that.
Yes, but thank you for taking me, because
I
speak fast, right?
But when you have so much to say,
so it's me there. We are really authentic. This is how I call this podcast, and I can imagine like would be like historical one, you know what I mean? I'm just saving this one as this kind of the most authentic, you know, like being there, telling the truth, what's in the heart. So it was really, really a good experience. So thank you for that, Michaela, too. And it's an hour. It's an hour, right?
I know, and it felt like 15 minutes. Oh my goodness. But that feedback, that is why I'm doing this. I want to have authentic conversations. I don't want a script where people say, you know, let me read my bio. No, I want to know who you are, because our listeners, they're looking for that. They want to be inspired to pull themselves out and be bigger and bolder in who they are. So I insist upon that authenticity, right? And that's why it's very conversational. It's very informal, but we're dealing with big topics that can really impact. And so for me, that's a gold star and a win. I thank you for that.
You're amazing. And look, and I think, you know, like what you can find in this podcast, so we also talk about leadership, right? So topics about more even like how can you manage your team, your business, your corporate, yourself. But as also, again, you brought like the inner part of myself, right? And I listened to your other podcast, so I can tell you're a great host, all right? So All the Things podcast, save it. And it's amazing how you take the conversation and how gives the meaning and the learning in other situations. So that is a good one. And regarding how I started to be a coach with the WordPress buttons, like, oh, this is a story, right? I'm learning as well how to build a story. So Michaela, you know, like really cool. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And
you're welcome.
And then, you know, the
like
Team Ferris type of questions, which I loved it. We didn't know about that each other, right? So you can be you. That's here right now.
Yep, that is Anna's takeaway from our podcast, is you can be you. And if I showed up as anything but me to do these podcasts, it would be a total flop, right?
Amazing.
But I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious because, listen, I'm a product of Tim Ferriss' podcast, right? Like, I want to know, like, when you make a decision to be courageous, to choose you, what does that feel like before, during, and after? Because when we can highlight that experience, right, we tend to look at people that make it big or whatever as, well, they just must have smoothed their way into this. And in reality, they're making very deliberate decisions. They're taking real risks and waging that, right? So if I don't dig into where did you put yourself at risk a little bit, right? If I don't get that out of you, then the people listening will think that there's a pedestal upon which you or I stand upon. And I say it in the podcast, we are messy, right? Anna, you and I are coaches, and we help people figure themselves out, but we don't have the answers. We have the answers for us, but what we have is curiosity and support and accountability. So that's what I want to bring. I want to bring that curiosity, and I want to celebrate you. I want to keep you fueled.
And you did it. And you did it, because, you know, I felt it. But more, like, because I was in the flow of the conversation, and you told me in the beginning, Michaela told me, this is an half an hour podcast, and then it turned 1 hour, right? It's like, okay, so she will cut. But then it's real. It's there. The messiness, the emotion, everything I appreciate. Honestly, I got this. I was telling to my husband, this is going to be an historical one. I'm just putting here in my, you know, I have a folder with the links, the things I like, and just to put there. I put there, like, this is like here. So thank you for this.
What I want.
Very real, very good. And I got good learnings as well. So please listen to that, and all the things, because the name of the podcast, all the things, because I've listened already. Not all, I need to be honest, but you know, like that automatically goes beyond, you know, backwards.
They're there, you know, whenever you want them.
Yes. So I did that already. I already want to. So it was very interesting. Really cool. So thank you for that. Thank you.
Well, it's stories about real people using their gift to grow, change, and serve. And you, my darling, are a gift. You have found, I know you have many gifts, but you have found a real gift that has lasting meaning. And it, you know, the 4 things that we need to accomplish. We need to have money. We need to have passion. We need to have a legacy, right? And we need to be inspired. So thank you.
No,
from the bottom of my heart for sharing your time with us. Also for just continuing this relationship that you and I were very blessed to ignite only back in December, and I feel like I've known you forever.
Yes.
But check it out, episode 15 of And All the Things. You will get to know so much about Anna and her courageous and curious journey. So check it out, like it, share it, follow at AnnaJo Talks on Instagram. Again, check out the podcast on Apple and Spotify or YouTube. But I will put in a disclaimer. In my infancy of maturing this sucker, I screwed up on the recording and I didn't get the video. So again, let's go back to the first thing we talked about today, which is a little bit of just roll with the technology snafu.
Okay, but that's fine.
So there's no video.
I thought you were going to say about the name.
Oh my God.
The name has a story. My name is Ana Jorge, and then AnnaJo, which is my new meme, right? S double N, right?
I totally got
my name is Ana. Just like I thought you were saying that's what. But this is part of the story as well. And like, the story, right? So the new AnnaJo comes up and it's confusing all the time. All right. So it's so interesting.
Backwards. I put, so AnnaJo Talks, her handle on Instagram and the way you find her online has double N, right? Double your money here. Two for the money. Her name is Anna with one N. Ana Jorge. So I got them totally backwards in the text that I wrote and all the things. So quickly I had to go back in and flip-flop them. But again, we are messy creatures, right? We're all learning. Do you want to tell us real quick? Like
the story about
N versus double N.
The AnnaJo. So my name is Ana Jorge. And they look at there, Ana Jorge. This is my aunt there. So it's like me. It's have the same name, Ana Jorge, with one N, A-N-A. And I've been all my life. I was born like his name. My corporate name is Ana Jorge, right? So traveling around the world, moving countries. But then I found this new passion, becoming a blogger. But kind of my inner self was ashamed of a corporate, like being like a blogger, two worlds that did match, right? So I was like, shame is this kind of thing, like, oh no, how am I going to do that?
It's scary to change, to put yourself out there, number one, but to do it in a way that is
absolutely, I live that, absolutely. I mean, so I came up with a name so people didn't find me, but should be relatable, right? So I kind of mess around with my name, and because I was living in the US, and almost everybody, write to me like with double N, right? Anna, in English, right, would be with double N. So Anna with double N, right? Joe, George, Joe, J-O. All right, I'm AnnaJo, and I'm fine with that, and I love it. That's my new name.
I think it's so, but again, like we have to use our experiences to help the people we work with, the people we want to touch and inspire, to give insights, right? Like I did this, right? And you may not do it over again any differently, but just to be able to say, you can reinvent yourself quite literally in the way that serves you best, right? You think about what's important, what are the risks, what is, whose opinion do you really care about, right? And you just start factoring through. And I think it's great. I understand that completely. Before I started really promoting my coaching business, I was in a male-dominated construction industry, right? Building and manufacturing and construction. And me coming in with my fine joy and light just felt, I didn't know where I fit, right? Like it was hard to see myself in that world, and I felt restricted. And then I really just had to decide, who cares, right? This is what it is. I am who I am. And I just started putting myself out there. And for the most part, nobody noticed, right? Nobody cared. But we think.
But it says inside of us, right?
Yeah, right. And it's, we have to take risks, but we have to think them through and say, what is best for me? What works today? Because guess what? You can always evolve. And I love that part of your story, and I appreciate you bringing up the N versus double N.
I know it's a mess all the time, right? Ooh. It's like, it is. No, my name is Anna, one N, but AnnaJo with double N, right? It's so funny. But that's the thing. And the other part I like to add, Michaela, is about like, yes, we feel that, we know that, but we need to live it. Just like me, like the decision to become a blogger and living and feeling this shame, this, oh, I don't want to put myself out there. I thought it was easier, but I had to make a decision, which was, okay, I want to know more about what is a blog, and I want to create a blog. I want to have a voice. It's all there, but doing it, we need to start for something. So Marie Forleo has her name, right? So the start, in the book, it's not the name of the book. Everything is figured out. Is in the book. One of the big takeaways I took from that book is start before you're ready. Okay. So even if I couldn't be ready for the blog, I had to start to feel what I need to go through, right? To unblock the feelings of not putting myself out there. I didn't know it was a thing, right? Because I'm very extrovert. In my corporate, I do presentations, I run meetings, big ones. But actually, like, put my name and write a blog, it was so I don't know, this feeling, like this blocking, this, what does that mean? I had to feel it, I had to live it. So the decision to put yourself out there had to go through the experience, right? So that's why it's so important to live this before even you are ready, because you don't know what you're going to feel.
Well, and the stories we tell ourselves in our head oftentimes are way worse than what happens in reality, right? And we touch on that in the podcast as well. And even in this vein, to call this a podcast, when I first started, I couldn't do that. I had to just do the thing and then trust that I could build it up. Because if I said I'm going to start a podcast in September, I could see myself in analysis paralysis, right? Like, just, how do I make it right? How do I make it perfect? How do I get it all lined up before I begin?
Exactly.
But I just did it. And it just...
And you told me something that I started with lives, and that evolved with something. And then I was more comfortable to be with someone, a guest, and how to manage a guest, then put myself out there with a guest. That is something, right? Then which leads to your part. I think it's amazing, that story. Because it's absolutely that. It's just starting with something that is very quick. Quick means, alive, it's quick, but you have to invite someone to be, like, think about the questions, or think about how am I going along these. Put yourself out there, right? It's like, now I'm here in life, right? It's just scary. And go through all these feelings, and like, now I'm ready for a podcast. I think it's brilliant. It's a great story as well. Yes, I think about that all the time, and it's like, I'm inspired by that story. Perhaps it's the way I'm going to go for my podcast in the future, because I have this vision to have a podcast as well. It's like, that perhaps is something. That is an inspiration.
And, because it did take courage the first several times I hopped on live too, in my coaching business, I lead people through conversations all the time in a very similar manner. And while these are not coaching sessions, it's still bringing that kind of brain, that thinking, that curiosity. And the first couple were very scary, right? But what I wanted, when I know I have to get over a fear, I want to help other people get over it too, right? And it was very liberating. It is very liberating to bring someone on and say, for me to say, I trust you to follow through with this. I will guide you, trust me. And then to navigate the conversation. It took a little bit of, right, self-talk and things. But again, my expectations were just to do it. There was no worrying about the metrics or, did we hit all the questions? Let's just have this conversation, because what we have to offer, even if it's a little messy, is important.
It's there, authentic. Now you are a great host, really. Just listen to All the Things podcast. You will enjoy and learn so much.
I love it, Anna. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, listen, to everyone who hopped in to listen today, thank you so much. Head on over and like the podcast wherever you listen. If you have any feedback, let me know. If you have any guests that you think would really benefit from sharing their story in this way, just send them my way. I mean, this is my space for all of you to grow and change and serve. And AnnaJo, Anna George, whoever you want to call yourself, keep shining, sweet sister, because we need you. We need you, and we need you, and we need the work that you can do. So wherever the day may take you. I love to say this to my clients. Go be so fabulous, the world can't stand it.
Aw.
And follow along at And All the Things. We'll talk
Thank
soon.
you. Mwah. Thank
Much
you
love.
so much.
Mwah.
Take care.
Bye,
See ya.
sweetheart. Talk to you later.
See ya.